Amen.
Thank you, Councillor. First off, I'm looking for an adoption of the minutes from our September 24th meeting. Moved by Councillor Morocco, seconded by Councillor Pietrangelo. Is there any discussion to that motion? Seeing none, we'll call the vote. All those in favor? Okay, and that's approved. Next up is disclosures of pecuniary interest. Do we have any disclosures for tonight? Okay, seeing none, we will move forward to our deputations. Now, tonight we have two deputations. We've got, first of all, a provincial champion baseball team that represented Niagara Falls in Ontario. These are the Niagara Falls Falcons minor midget baseball team. And first thing I would do is I would ask the coach if they would join me up here in front of my desk, and we can start to do the appropriate recognition. We've got John Hiltz, Karen Schmall, and Jeff Bray. So if the three of you gentlemen can join me up here, we will name all of the championship players, and we'll give them a little token of our appreciation from the City of Niagara Falls. There's a little doorway right there. Yeah, there we go. This is what I got for all the kids. Each one's got a little pack, a bunch of goodies here, and a certificate from, well, I'll explain that. First of all, I'm going to ask all the guys inside, we're going to call you one at a time to come up here. We're going to present you with a certificate. We're going to present you with a little token of our appreciation from the city. And I'm going to ask the coaches maybe to give a quick overview of what happened this season, how we got to being here today, and how you were so successful. I understand, is this a three-peat?
No, 3 out of 5.
Three?
We've been in the finals the last 5 years.
Okay, so why don't you give us, John, give us an overview then.
Minor midget team, very good group of kids. We've been together majority for 6-7 years. This year was very successful. We won 3 tournaments. We went into an 18U and they're 16. We finished second in that. And at the OBAs, we ended up winning the championship.
Great year, great bunch of guys, and it was a lot of fun. Great team, great teammates.
And how old are these guys?
16.
They're 16 years old?
Yeah.
And it's pretty amazing when you win a championship at this age, because now the guys, they got jobs, right? They got maybe girlfriends, you know, they've got other commitments and obligations, but the fact that they're still sticking with it's a pretty big deal.
That was the thing, is to let them work as well as keep playing. Because we said if they leave, they never come back. So
that's right.
There's a lot of juggling to keep them playing. I appreciate the city doing recognizing the boys because they're, as I said, a great group of kids. Besides being great ball players, they're all good kids.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, tell you what, why don't we do this then? I'm going to give you guys the list of players, and as you call them up, what we have for them, I don't know who wants to read them out. We've got a certificate from the city, from Kim Crater, and we've got a little little gift bag with a little keepsake memento, a couple of keepsake mementos from the city. These stylish BNF backpack thingamajigs, awesome. And we'll call them off and we'll do them one at a time. Thingamajigs, that's right.
Ryan Bray.
Yeah, give me take the box, yeah. Ryan Bray. And it's alphabetical, so you guys can kind of get ready. You'll know who's coming next. Congratulations. You can just stand to the side. We'll do a group shot.
Michael Bertel. Derek Chipman.
You guys want to do the gifts and all the
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Good job. Thank you.
Jordan Hiltz.
Is that here? Jordan?
Tanner Mills. Jordan Politi. Lucas Revel. Joe Scaringi. Daniel Small.
Come on.
Brendan Shannon. David Schultz. Aaron Wilkinson. Coach Darren Small. Coach Jeff Bray.
Good job. Thank you. Okay. And Coach Bray and Coach John. Beautiful. Yes. Good job. Here's your championship team, ladies and gentlemen. Some of you will line up for a shot because some people with cameras. You got a camera. Here's your chance to grab a shot. Can't believe these guys are 16. It must be enriched bread or something. Like, what's going on? Boy, I'm back here. You can move in. Line up. Get in the picture. Camera see. So, how do you come close if you need that? $5 a picture, so take as many as you want. You get it?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, guys.
Okay, good job, guys. Congratulations. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Okay, we're good. Okay.
Good job, guys. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, next up, our next deputation is from Scouts Canada, and I would ask Carolyn Askeland if she could come up from Scouts Canada and do the deputation.
Mayor Diodati, members of council and senior staff, my name is Carolyn Askeland and I am the area commissioner for Scouts Canada, and we have Noah Oatley with me who is eager to also assist me within my speech to council this evening. So on behalf of Scouts Canada Niagara area, it's my pleasure to be here tonight along with some of our scouting members, and we thank you for your time. Scouts Canada has proudly served the City of Niagara Falls for 100 plus years through community projects and assisting with the development of young people. Currently, our membership consists of 200 plus youth and 90 leaders through 7 groups in the city. We are proud to deliver quality programming to youth 5 years and age and up. Okay, Noah.
Youth who register and participate in scouting programs gain valuable skills, learn how to work as a team, challenge themselves to new ideas and goals, build leadership, and make lasting friendships while have fun. Tonight, we are here to show our appreciation to the City of Niagara Falls and ask for their support during our 79th Apple Day on Friday, October 8th and Saturday, October 19th. On these days, members of Scouts Canada Niagara area will be supporting local businesses, asking for a donation to scouting in exchange for an apple.
We are pleased that all funds raised in Niagara Falls stay in Niagara Falls and are used to offset the cost of camps, weekly meeting supplies, special events, and registration fees. At this time, we would ask permission to allow our scouting members into council chambers to present each of the councillors, Mayor Diodati, and senior staff with an apple. Oh, perfect. Oh, wonderful.
Can you get them to come around and walk around? We would like to hand some money to the kids.
Yeah, so go ahead, you can go inside and walk around. Scouter Ann will help you. Perfect. So we just like to remind you that when you do see a scouting member, know that they can share. They're prepared to do their best. They are prepared. They challenge themselves, and they provide service to others.
Guys, come on up here when you're done.
Lastly, we just want to remember that we are always open to accepting new members into our organization, and they can visit our website or refer to the City Leisure Guide for more information.
Excellent. I think you just keep talking. We should keep collecting money. So,
Perfect. That's what we like.
you don't need card tricks or any jokes? Or, there you go, buddy. That's for you. All right, we're going to do a picture. You guys stand up here for a picture. What's that? Come here, buddy. Come here.
Wrong organization.
He's like the sweet.
Yeah. Good job. These guys are treating. We're going out with them. Pizza. There's people in the gallery who want to give money too. That's great.
Perfect.
Awesome. Come on, we're going to do a picture, guys. Scout leader, do you want to come up here too? Come on, scout leaders. Superman? Oh, little guy? Yeah. Come closer, Laura. Come a little closer. I don't bite. Well, he's not always. Not today. Okay, let's hear it. Look at the camera, guys. Look at the camera, guys. Apple a day keeps the politician away, so good for you guys.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations, guys. Oh, yeah, we want to say that. Good luck. Oh, your basket. Is this your basket? Yeah. The CFO did not pay yet. The CFO needs to pay. Dig deep. He's got short arms and big pockets. So keep your eye on the money bill. 2 pieces. Is there a tank? Yeah, Councilor Marco.
Your Worship, I'd like to bring forward an item there, or a motion for approval. I know the people have been sitting here for a while. I'd like to bring a motion forward to actually have no parking on this side of Dorchester, 7079 Dorchester at James Morden, across from that area. If I could have a motion to...
Okay, moved by Councilor Marco, seconded by Councilor Thompson, that we move this item forward. What's that? Is it on the agenda right now? Or?
No, it's going to be out of new business, but
okay.
They're here.
Okay. So we've got an item regarding Dorchester Road across from James Morden School. Is that right? Okay. Is there any comments or questions of council before we call the vote? To bring the motion forward? Okay, we'll call the vote. All those in favor? Okay, and that's unanimous. Okay, so Councillor, did you want to bring it forward, or is someone going to...
Yes, I'd like to make the motion to actually have no parking on the side of Dorchester at 7079 Dorchester on that side.
Okay, so we've got a motion for no parking on Dorchester, and the address again is...
the side of 7079.
At 7079 Dorchester Road, is that right? I'm sorry, Councillor, did you want to, just to help so that everyone understands what they're voting on?
Well, I think people have been notified. In fact, the clerk gave a lengthy discussion along with all the staff who've been involved in trying to deal with a property that is causing some concern in the area, and particularly with the parking of the vehicle. The residents who are there and live in the house adjacent have to come out with a big truck sitting there blocking the view. It's a safety hazard. It doesn't happen anyplace else, so that's the reason to deal with the problem individually with the parking.
Okay, so we've heard the motion. Is there any discussion to that? If not, we'll call the vote. All those in favor? Okay, and that's unanimous. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, moving along on our agenda, we go to the planning matters. We've got two before us tonight. First up is PBD 2013-62, official plan amendment, number 112. Thank you, Orange. I would ask the city clerk if you would please introduce this item for our agenda.
No, if we don't get we list reports from 5 to 7. If we don't, obviously we were late, but we've advertised the meetings for 7 o'clock, so we're obligated to do those first. A public meeting is now being convened to consider city-initiated amendments to the official plan to introduce new agricultural use policies to bring the official plan in conformity with the region's agricultural action plan. Notice was given by publishing a notice in the Niagara Falls Review on August 17, 2013, and by first-class mail-in to various agencies as per the regulations of the Act. Anyone who wants notice of the passage of the official plan amendment shall leave their name on the sign-in sheets outside the council chambers.
Thank you very much. I'd now ask Mr. Hurlovich, our Director of Planning, to explain the purpose and the reason for the proposed amendment to our official plan.
Thank you, Your Worship. This is a general amendment to our agricultural policies. We did hold a public open house on September the 5th. This is a requirement under the Planning Act because it is a general amendment to the plan. 4 people attended. The comments were generally supportive. There were some suggestions to increase some flexibility. We did reword some of those policies. They also, there was a request that the equestrian activities not become a racetrack, and that the additional comments referred to in the existing policies not, that there are additional comments that are not being, there are additional comments that were received, but they're not with respect to policies that are actually being changed. The intent is to provide more flexibility to farmers by allowing them to have small-scale secondary uses that help support the farm operations. In addition to home occupations and home industries, new policies would be in agritourism. There would be policies that address the agricultural value retention and value-added agricultural policies, as well as adding the equestrian activities. Value retention uses. These are uses that the farm would benefit by washing, sorting, packing, and packaging. Some of these activities already occur, but this would actually allow them to do this on a larger scale. It may allow them to have several farms would be able to work together in doing some of this work, so that they're actually increasing the value of those products. Agritourism is really allowing visits to working farms. This is for educational tours, possible enjoyment, as well as getting actively involved in some of the operations of the farm. The value-added uses, these are really the main changes that are going on in this agricultural area. That is that we would be adding uses that provide for value that's added to an agricultural product, so that if they grow a product on the site, they could enhance it in some way, either through production, through managing, or marketing rather, or through support services. And these uses are intended to be small scale. They would be conducted by the individual or a family member, or it could actually even be a farm corporation that would be operating this. Sometimes those farm corporations incorporate multiple lands. The uses will be introduced as of right in the city's comprehensive zoning bylaw, and there would be maximum building limits as to the size and floor areas of those operations. If there was a application that exceeded the minimum requirements of those zoning requirements, or have potential off-site impacts such as traffic, roads, hydro usage, servicing, those applications would need to be processed under the Planning Act, either through a minor variance or a zoning bylaw amendment. The These new policies are intended to conform with the region's policy plan, and the policies would recognize that in rural areas that there are agricultural uses that help strengthen and support the agricultural industry. The recommendation, therefore, is that Council receive any comments made by the public tonight. Staff would review these, we'd address them accordingly. That is into the amendment. There is an amendment draft that's attached to the report, and we would be bringing that amendment back at a later date. Those are the highlights.
Thank you, Mr. Levitch. Are there any questions or comments of Council? Councillor Iannone?
I did get an email today from Mr. Art Federer, who used to sit on this council, asking to distribute it to everybody. And he had a couple concerns. One of his questions was, does the policy recognize many of the rural farms in the municipality of Niagara Falls, noting that they are much smaller in land mass than the majority of farms in the rest of the region? And he wanted to know if a report of that nature had been generated. He says he believes you're going to find more parcels of farmland under 50 acres than over, with a vast majority between 10 and 25 acres after you remove wetland, designated forest waterways, and flatland portions. The farmers that are left in our Niagara Falls boundary face different challenges pertaining to the collective land mass, and this is in comparison to the larger farms, many that he thinks go throughout the Niagara region. And he has a lot of questions in there, but in the end, in his summary, he says, if the intent is to truly allow farmers to diversify, there should be acknowledged in reference to the ability to network with fellow producers in the area to buy their product for the sake of resale or consumers or distributors, not limiting the farmer to sell only what he can produce or at one location where he may reside. Farming is a different world now, and as you're aware, many young people do not want to put in the time required. Hence, the farmer succeed or you buy your food from China. I submit these comments respectfully in effort to have a better understanding of the report from staff and what the end result will be. And he highlights that he farms six properties, 3 which he owns and three by different corporations. And they do trade things such as canneries, pies, fruit things that they make, canneries, baking, cheese, produce. He says they share that interest within the farms. He wants to know if this report will delineate one of those farms being able to sell something that wasn't grown or made on their own farm.
Okay, well, do we have any comment, Mr. Levitch?
Your Worship, the policies were intended to provide for that, but after receiving Mr. Federer's comments today, I see that they could be more specific. It says that anything that adds value to agricultural products. So it's not clear that they could get an agricultural product from your next door neighbor and can it on your property. So you grow peaches and the other one grows plums. They might both can those on one of the farms. It's not as clear as that, so we can make that clarification and bring that forward. He asked as well about the different sizes. We didn't do a study of the farm size. We certainly have that information in our office, but these policies would apply to everybody uniformly. So if you had a 50-acre soy farm or you have a 10-acre strawberry farm, you're going to be able to have value-added uses. So really the size of the farm doesn't matter. What the region has recognized is that it's not always possible to just be able to grow a crop and sell it and make a profit, that sometimes you need to be able to process that in order to realize a good financial return. So we'll make sure that those clarifications are in the amendment for when we bring it back.
Okay, that sounds good. Councillor, is that, are you good with that? Did you have any other comment, Councillor? I'm sorry, I can't hear the... Oh, is that... no more? Okay, so we're good with that? All right. Are there any other questions of Council for on this agenda item? Okay, seeing none. Members of the public are advised that failure to make an oral or written submission at this public meeting could result in the Ontario Municipal Board dismissing any referral that it receives if the party has not made an oral or written submission at this public meeting. Council will now hear from anyone who wishes to speak to the proposed amendments. Is there anyone here in the gallery that would like to speak to the proposed amendments? All right, seeing none. The public meeting with respect to the proposed amendment to the official plan is now concluded. It's moved by Councillor Iannone, seconded by Councillor Thompson. With the addendum that's been iterated by our Director of Planning. Is there any other discussion to this? Yes, Councillor Carrier.
Your Worship, I've been talking to some of my fellow farmers, and the amount of people that showed up at the meeting I don't think is any way representative of how many farmers are looking at this as an opportunity to save their farms or to keep their young people involved in farming. This is the first thing that I've seen in a long time that would help the farmers do something else on their land that they're having a hard time make pay. So anything that we can do to expand on what they could do in an agricultural manner on their farms to help them make money would be welcomed by the farming community, because they struggle. It's a very difficult life. It's almost impossible to make money growing hay or some of the other crops. So if they can do other things on their land, I'm sure that they'll be appreciative and they'd be all for this.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Any advantage we can give to our farmers.
Instead of just selling their land to develop it into housing.
Yeah, it just takes a trip down to Sylvia Place to realize how important the farmers are. Is there any other discussions of council to this amendment? Okay, seeing none, we'll call the vote. All those in favor? Okay, that's unanimous. Thank you for that. Thank you, Tom. That's good, thank you. Okay, our next item here is public meeting PBD 2013-63 official plan 5-year review, and I would ask our city clerk if you'd please introduce it.
The next item on the agenda, Your Worship, is a public meeting to receive input as per the 5-year review mandated under the Planning Act for the city's official plan. The purpose of this public meeting is to receive information in accordance with the Act and allow the public to comment on policies and land use designations contained in the official plan. Notice was given in accordance with the regulations by publishing notices in the Niagara Falls Review on August 30th and September 7th.
Thank you for that. I'd now ask our Director of Planning, Mr. Hurlovich, if he would provide comment on the official plan review.
Thank you, Worship. This is a meeting that's held under the Planning Act. We're required every 5 years to call for the public's comments on our official plan to see whether or not there's any areas where they would suggest making changes to the official plan. Staff have identified 5 different areas which we will be examining as part of the official plan. So we'll be re-looking at the retail and commercial policies. They're 20 years old. We're going to look at the hierarchical structure, whether or not major, minor, and neighborhood commercial designations are still appropriate. We're going to look at our tourist commercial policies. Those haven't been looked at in 10 years. We need to remove some of our architectural peer review requirements. We've basically been doing that as a staff review now rather than as a panel. We need to look at our aggregates policy. There's new mapping that's been released by the Ministry of Natural Resources, so our document needs to be brought up to date. We have separate sections on open space and parkland strategy, so we want to combine those together into one approach and basically make those a little bit more modern, and then look at secondary planning. So those are areas that we've identified. The public might have some other areas of concern as well. Basically, we're meeting our requirements under the Act, and if Council receives any comments, we'll be incorporating these into the various reports that will be coming back to Council. It'll probably be 6 to 12 months that we'll be bringing back reports on each of these aspects. They may or may not be all together depending on the extent of the changes. Those are the highlights.
Thank you for that, Mr. Hurlovich. Any questions of Council? Councillor Morocco.
Yes, I do have one. There was a letter included in that presentation to you by TransCanada. They've actually asked some quotes to be included into that. Mr. Hurlovich, through you, the Mayor to Alec Hurlovich. Will that points of in their letter be also added into the report?
Yes, we can include that, and I think there was another agency that asked that when the specific changes come out that they be notified as well. So we'll be addressing both of those comments in the review. But
Thank you
we're
very
just
much.
at the beginning of the review.
Okay, thanks for that. Are there any other questions of Council? Is there anyone here in the gallery that's here to speak to this issue? Okay, seeing none. All comments received will be forwarded to the Director of Planning and Development to be brought back for further report to this Council. The public meeting for the official plan update is now concluded. I'm looking for a motion now to refer this to staff for further consideration. Moved by Councillor Thompson, seconded by Councillor Maves. We'll call the vote. All those in favor? Okay, and that's unanimous. Thank you for that. I will very quickly, just before we go back to our reports, a little bit out of order for anyone following on the agenda tonight. We're a little bit out of order. First off, I do want to remind anyone that's following council that 5 o'clock on Tuesdays is the time of our meeting. Our next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, October the 22nd. I'd like to mention we did have some obituaries. Jimmy Bianco, father of Dominic Bianco of our Environmental Services Department, passed away. We offer our condolences to his family. This past week, I returned from a trip to India and South Korea along with our CAO and our Economic Development Officer. It was a very productive and fruitful trip. It was a long trip. It's good to be home, and we're sure that there'll be fruits of our labor that council will be considering in the very near future, and we're, as I say, glad to be back in Niagara Falls. I'd also like to thank Councillor Carrio for taking over the duties of mayor in his acting role as I was away, and I think the staff are going to miss him more than they're happy to see me back, so good job, Councillor. Thanks to council members who represented the city at different events, including Councillor Morocco at our Turn to Pray opening service, and I understand she's also involved in the Fab, Oh So Fab pajama party, so that's good. Congratulations. Also, thanks to Councillor Gates for representing the city at the Haunt Manor opening, and that's good. Up and coming, just two events I'd like to mention. One is George Bucator Park Cleanup is going to take place next Saturday, October 19th at 9:30 a.m. On the Chippewa Parkway at the park. This will be a community opportunity to clean up a park named after a former mayor. And lastly, speaking of mayors, the mayor's prayer breakfast is going to be October the 30th, Wednesday, October the 30th at Club Italia. Doors open at 6:15 a.m. Tickets will be on sale in our office at City Hall, the mayor's office, for $12.50 each. And for that, you get a breakfast at Club Italia, and you get to listen to Nick Walenda. It's a real big deal that we were able to get him, secure him for this year's event, and he's going to talk about what you heard and maybe what you didn't hear when he did his walk. And we invite everybody to buy tickets soon. Yesterday alone, just in our office, we sold 60 tickets. So this event is going to sell out, and if you're interested in being at this event, you should buy your tickets very soon. And again, Mayor's Prayer Breakfast, Wednesday, October the 30th at Club Italia. You can call the Mayor's office if you like tickets for $12.50 each. And thank you for that. Yes, Councillor Thompson?
Yes, could you include a letter to John and Marie Fuller on the passing of their son, Johnny?
Yes, absolutely, we'll do that, and our condolences to the Holler family as well on the loss of their son, John Jr. Yes, Councillor Carrio? Or Councillor Iannoni?
And also send our condolences to Marg Germano and her husband Corky for the passing of their...
Actually, we sent that out earlier today, or yesterday, I believe it was. Yes, and Councillor Carrio?
Your Worship, I was asked by Niagara Falls Community Outreach. They're having a dinner. Do you have that?
Yes, did you like to mention that? That'd be good.
The Hunger Can't Wait benefit dinner, which is going to be held November the 18th, sponsored by the Skyline Tower and the Urich family. Tickets are $100 per person, and tickets can be purchased through Jim and Verna Craig. Their number is 905-397-0505, and I'm going to give you this to put in your office as well, and maybe you might be able to make another announcement as it comes closer.
We'll definitely do that, and we'll put it out on our social media as well to help promote that event. Okay, moving along, we're moving on to the reports section of tonight's agenda. The first item on the reports is TS 2013-40, Conventional Transit Routing and Scheduling Revitalization Action Plan. And to present this, we've got Dave Stewart, our General Manager of our transit facility. Welcome, Mr. Stewart.
Glad to be here. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Diodati, members of council, fellow staff, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed my privilege, and that of Mr. Bob Chambers, our Manager of Transit Operations, to share with you the Niagara Falls Transit Revitalization Action Plan. It's important to note that this plan was born after a great deal of dialogue with transit stakeholders and public outreach with residents. And a lot of that diligent work was done by the Transit Routing Ad Hoc Advisory Committee chaired by Councillor Iannone back in 2011. There was an extraordinary amount of work put into this way back then, and a lot of it is certainly fruitful today. The committee identified a number of key objectives to improve our services, and staff have been working very diligently to implement those in an objective, balanced manner within the budget we have been allocated. I see that Dean has moved the slide along for me. So these are the objectives that we see as staff as opportunities that we'd like to address right away. The first one, of course, is schedule adherence challenges. Right now, we know it's very difficult for our operators to make their routes in the time they currently have. This leads to a lot of stress to the operators, a lot of stress to our customers. And where that really manifests itself is in the second bullet, which is improving customer transfer connectivity. If the routes fall behind, if there's extraordinary work on Atlantis and the buses are 6 minutes behind, whatever it may be, people are missing connections. They just not have been as reliable as we would like them to see. So if people aren't making their connections, they're not getting to work, medical appointments, school on time, it's very problematic for them and certainly problematic for us to retain ridership. The next bullet that we're trying to address is to enhance the efficiency by migrating services. What that means in a nutshell is that we're taking service hours from certain portions of the city and reallocating them to emerging centers in the city, the west end of the city, new neighborhoods, new hospitality sector areas, certainly new retail sectors, be it the Target Plaza, RioCan developments, be it the new Boys and Girls Club, those type of things where the high traffic generators are migrating to. One of the ways we're doing that is looking at how we've historically had a lot of big circuitous loops on our routes, which means that sometimes somebody will get on a bus, travel northwest when they eventually want to go southeast. We're trying to eliminate that. We're looking at creating linear routes which travel north-south on the major arteries, be it Dorchester, Montrose, Kaler, or east-west along McLeod or, of course, Lundy's Lane. So we're trying to create linear routes that don't create this long circuitous trip for an individual, which is really a disincentive to ride. And we're just reducing redundancy. A lot of times we had multiple buses travel down portions of routes. We're trying to re-migrate that to other areas and better utilize that for coverage and convenience to customers. So we're looking at that as well. What you're going to see when I finish my portion of this presentation is Bob Chambers is going to come up and he's going to show you the route structure that's been designed to achieve all these objectives. So I'm going to have the first part, Bob's doing the middle section, kind of introducing the new route structures, and then I'm going to come up and summarize how we're going to put this into effect and inform the community. The second and last bullet is better serve major traffic generators. The ad hoc committee spent a lot of time focusing on what were the major traffic generators in this community. We have to have better service to high schools, all the new community infrastructure, be it the Gale Center, McBain Center, new museum, Boys and Girls Club, all these different generators. And so you'll see that the route structure identifies that as well. And last but certainly not least on objectives is greater access to the WEGO system. Back in 2011, we were talking about the WEGO system, we were looking at route structures, but it hadn't been formalized at that point. Now that we've got a year and change under our belt with the WEGO system, and as a byline, it's done incredibly well. The ridership is off the charts in the WEGO system. It's been a wonderful success story. We're trying to find ways to better migrate people from Niagara Falls Transit onto the WEGO system so that it enhances their transportation options within the city to get down into, say, the Queen Victoria Park area for recreation or employment. So we've got phases that we can access to bring them from Niagara Falls Transit, transferring onto WEGO buses, and utilizing that resource as well. The one bullet I should point out that's not here is that you don't see half-hour headways here. I know that it was something that was a key element for the ad hoc committee. They wanted to see us move towards half-hour headways. What we've done is when you see Bob's route structure is identify all these objectives. They're hour headways on the majority of routes. They can be enhanced over the course of time and phased in. We've built a new foundation that we think better serves the community and the transportation needs of the community. So at some point, if it's the will of council, we can move towards half-hour headways. It's ready for that. But with the budgeting allocation we received, we've made changes within that amount. So,
okay. Councillor Iannone?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And through the entire process, we have to highlight it was the half-an-hour headway service that people needed more than anything else. Well, I'm glad to see they can link with the WEGO. It was half-an-hour service and the ability to get to school, get to work, do your groceries, get your doctor's appointments, just live every day without a car. So I'm hoping as we have new budget monies, as we go into the new budget deliberations, we can take a look at adding half-hour service. I mean, for the reality is we don't ride the bus. But there are tens of thousands of people in this city who depend on that bus service every day, and we should be providing them at least a better half-hour service than what we're providing now.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and now I'm going to turn it over to Bob Chambers, again, our Manager of Transit Operations, who's going to inform you with the route structure.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you. First, I'd like to point out that we've changed the numbering system just to signal the change from the old to the new. We've used the 100 series for the daytime Monday to Saturday service, and as I go through, scroll through the pages, you'll see that the evening Sunday holiday service we've numbered with the 200 series. Also, as I scroll through the slides, you'll see how we've achieved the objectives of the ad hoc committee, which Dave has pointed out. Starting with Route 102, I'll just use my cursor here to point out where we're at. It starts at the bus terminal train station, servicing our intermunicipal customers, running west down Bridge Street, servicing the Gale Center area, and south on Portage Road, past the hospital, the Coronation Center, to Main and Ferry. We're going to continue to use Main and Ferry as a major transfer point for connections throughout the rest of the city. And that's 102. Now 101 also is going to service Main and Ferry. It's going to travel south through the Fallsview area, west on Dunn Street, and down through McLeod Road to the major shopping areas, Walmart, Niagara Square, and the McBain Center as well. Niagara Square is also going to be one of our major transfer points, connecting multiple routes to various parts of the city. And as I move on here, you'll see that 113 is the first of one of our major north-south arteries. This one runs from the Mount Carmel Center, Monastery area, north and south on Montrose Road, servicing the McBain Center and Niagara Square for connections. And then we have the 103 east and west on McLeod Road, servicing Walmart, the Jubilee area, which historically there's been a high ridership through there, north on Drummond to Main and Ferry for connections. And now we have the 110 and the 104. The 110 and 104 are two of the three routes that we're going to have 30-minute headways on, particularly the 104. We did this to try and reduce the redundancy through Victoria Avenue, Queen Street area. So that will be the only route running the Victoria Avenue corridor through Clifton Hill area and to Main Street for connections, and also servicing the bus terminal and Queen Street. And 110 will start at Main and Ferry, run north Drummond Road, servicing Stamford High School, west on Morrison to the Target Plaza. And I should mention that the Target Plaza is going to be another one of our major hubs. There will be multiple routes coming in and out of there, servicing different areas of the city. And now we have the 109 and the 105. The 109 will service Target area, moving up to the Mount Carmel Plaza, Monastery area, with connections to the southwest end of the city. 105, as you can see, that's another major north-south corridor, Kaler Road, servicing West Lane High School, the southern part of Kaler Road, which there's a lot of ridership through there as well, and then west on McLeod, servicing St. Michael's High School, the Boys and Girls Club, back to Niagara Square for connections, and McBain Center as well. And then we'll have the 103. No, I'm sorry, we'll move on to the next one. Now we have the 106 and the 107. The 106 will continue to service the good people of Chippewa, also servicing Marineland, the Atlantis area, through the Fallsview area to Main and Ferry to the transfer hub. And the 107 will service north and south, passing the hospital, Coronation Center, north on Drummond Road, Five Corners, and the major shopping areas of Stamford Center, to the northeast section of Stamford, servicing A.N. Meyer and Town and Country Plaza. And now we have the 114 and the 111. The 114 services basically Stamford as well, the northwest area of Stamford, and also serving the major traffic areas of Stamford Center, the major shopping district, and Town and Country Plaza, A.N. Meyer School, moving south to the Target Plaza, connecting with other routes throughout the city. And the 111 runs north-south on Dorchester, serving McLeod Road, Niagara Square, and again for more connections. And now we have the 108 and the 112. The 112 is another option for Chippewa residents. Services the southern portion of Chippewa, Willoughby Drive, another major traffic area. Again, up Portage Road, past Marineland, the Atlantis area, east-west on McLeod, serving Walmart and Niagara Square with connections to St. Michael's High School, Boys and Girls Club, and West Lane if they'd like. And the 108 services the bus terminal, Glenview area, down through the 4th Avenue, McRae Street area, which also historically was a high ridership area, and north on Stanley, past Project Share, east-west on Thoroldstone Road, and south on Dorchester into the Target Plaza, making connections for various areas of the city. And now you'll see how the red line is integrated with the conventional service. A major east-west corridor along these lanes serving the hospitality sector, Queen Victoria Park, Clifton Hill. And to ride the red line, if you're paying a cash fare, you're required to show proof of residency. If you're coming off one of these north-south lines, which we expect the majority of the people to be coming from, you just ask the driver for a transfer, you produce it to the red line driver, and you're on your way. And also a 30-day pass, you just have to show your 30-day pass, and you're on your way. And we've also continued with the Transcap and Transcap service in the low-density areas, such as Norton Chippewa Parkway, Stanley South, and Minax. And that's our daytime Monday to Saturday service. And now I'll move on to the evening, Sundays, and holiday service. Start with these two major north-south corridors, 213 and 205, again serving the areas in between Mount Carmel Plaza and Niagara Square. Niagara Square again is a major transfer point. And again, we still have service in Chippewa on evenings and Sundays and holidays. Again, servicing Portage Road, Marineland, Fallsview area, Main and Ferry for connections. And then we have the 210, which travels north past the hospital, Coronation Center, and up through the Morrison, Dorchester area into the Target Plaza, again for connections from that major transfer hub. And then we have the 214, which services Stamford Center, the Five Corners, major shopping areas in Stamford, Town and Country Plaza, and the 209 also out of the Target Plaza, moving northwest to the Mount Carmel Plaza with connections to the southwest end of the city. And again, we have the 204, which also is going to run 30-minute headways from downtown, the downtown area, bus terminal, Queen Street, Victoria Avenue corridor to Main Street for connections as well. And again, the WeGo system will be the same evenings, Sundays, and holidays. Connections from the north and south for people wanting to get into the hospitality area. And that's it. And I'll turn it over to Dave for the rest of our action plan.
Thanks, Bob. So the question is, how are we going to convey all this information to the community? There's a lot of new information. There's a new route structure. There's going to be new schedules that go along with it. It's a total change in philosophy for Niagara Falls Transit that we're excited about. So we're starting off the first one with community outreach. There'll be extensive community outreach. We're going to have staff available on the buses. We're going to have staff at any major center that can ask us questions. We're going to be at open houses at places such as the McBain Center, the main library. We'll get into other places such as the Gale Center. Wherever people want us to be, we will be available. We'll engage BIA groups through their sessions to inform themselves, their employers, their staff, which of course can be imparted to their clientele so they know what we're up to. The focus group, or the ad hoc committee, also was very focused on looking at the new young riders, to build that ridership base to move forward with us. So we're looking at the secondary schools. We'll make ourselves available through the Mayor's Youth Advisory Committee. We'll be looking at the student councils. We'll be talking to the faculty there. Again, we'll have staff in the schools at various times in the cafeterias to reach out to them for information. And of course, the post-secondary market. That is a market that's been growing with us for the last few years. Ironically, since they started the Niagara Regional Transit System, our buy from Niagara College and Brock has increased. They're buying more service from us, which is a great problem to have. But we want to make sure that we maintain that ridership base, because they also use Niagara Falls Transit to move about the city to get into these intermunicipal connectors. So we'll reach out to the Niagara College Student Administrative Council, Brock University Students Union. Again, we can make ourselves accessible to them and their faculty if they want information. So the first thing we're going to do is have extensive outreach. Make ourselves accessible in a number of ways. They can reach us by phone, email, call us. We'll be there. We'll be there to walk them through it and show how it changes their lives, and it can, help them get to school, work, employments, and start to win a lot of this ridership back and retain them. It's certainly a lot easier to retain ridership than try to win it back.
We have a question for you, Mr. Stewart, from Councillor Iannone.
Mr. Stewart, I attended the meeting in St. Catharines that CKTB hosted in regards to regional transit, and Blue Stu representatives were there, and they said the problem is not getting students to school, the problem is getting students home from school. And if you miss your connector, you are sitting in sometimes a desolate area where there is nobody else waiting for another hour, and if you're coming in on the last bus and you've missed your connection, you're sitting there calling your mom or somebody coming to get you. So have we improved the times for the students to come home? Have we improved the connections for the kids to come home? Because that's where the problems seem to be.
Thank you. Through your worship, I'm glad you mentioned that. With driving a lot of the traffic to new emerging hubs, like we're looking at the Target Plaza, and we're going to be having conversations with Brock and Niagara College and certainly the regional system through the staff at the region to drive most of that traffic to the Target Plaza. It's easily accessed. You can get off the highway if you're coming in from the Welland area. Certainly if you're coming from St. Catharines, right down Throat Strone, easily accessed there. And a lot of our municipal infrastructure will go there for connectivity. And what we will then do is have conversations with our student representatives at Brock and Niagara College to say, if you bring the buses here and only here, you can have more trips. In the service hours that you buy from us, we can have more trips go between Niagara Falls and St. Catharines. So we can have more frequency, more headways, if you will. Because right now they're starting their trips off at Main and Ferry, they're meandering through the city, they're going to the north end, picking up students at Huggins area, and continuing it on up Throat Zone Road. But we're going to convince them to say that there's a better way, and this is a better thing for you, that you'll have more connectivity and certainly more trips with your buy.
Coming home, not going there.
Yeah, it'll work both ways. It'll work in the AM and the PM. It'll work throughout the day. Right now, I believe they're buying roughly 9 or 10 trips from us with the monies that they've been allotted. We're saying we can cut down the amount of time you're spending in Niagara Falls proper. That trip you can take on Niagara Falls Transit. It's a better service moving forward. There's more connectivity. Therefore, with your monies, you can have more trips between the Target Plaza and the Brock campus or the Welland campuses. So, again, very good question. The second thing we'll do is there's... sorry, Dean. You want to move it? Okay, thank you. There's a certain demographic that still look to print media for information and to access us. So the first thing we're going to do is, and we're working on this as we speak, is distribute a press release a week from today. Hopefully that'll generate some media inquiries, get some buzz going, get some talk in the community about things are changing. I already had a call today from one of the newspapers asking me questions, which is a great thing to have. So we're getting information out there. Almost like a bit of a teaser campaign. Something's going on at transit. What's it all about? Call us. We'll be happy to tell you. We'll be happy to visit you and talk about it. The next thing we'll be looking at is bus marketing. Again, we have to retain our loyal customers. Again, much easier to hang on to them than go out and try to find new ones. That's a costly venture. The one thing about our loyal customers is they're quite easily to reach. We know they're on the buses, but we have to make sure the information's there so they know how, again, it's going to impact their life moving forward. We'll have staff on the buses, we'll have posters on the buses, print materials on the buses. Make sure they know. Because they talk to other people, and it's just a cyclical thing. We can get the message out there. It can go viral for us, hopefully. Rider's Guides, our single largest marketing document is our Rider's Guide. It's got our routes on there, it's got our schedules on there, it's got the fare structure, it indicates where all the vendors are, phone numbers. It's a voluminous document, but people like to have that. Not everybody turns to the website, not everybody's got access to a website. So the Rider's Guide is being updated as we speak. We'll distribute it vastly throughout the community, and if residents want us to drop one off, mail it, we'll do that as well. That's their lifeline. That'll tell them everything they need to know about the system moving forward. And last but not least, print marketing. We're going to create some campaigns going into the daily and weekly newspapers. We'll have them out there virtually every week just to talk about what's changing, what's happening, how you can access us, how you can ask questions of us. We'll have some neat little logo associated with it so that it's kind of branded, identified that there's change going on, there's a new service moving forward. And again, the intent is generate some interest, generate some conversation, call us if you want to know information, we'll be here for you. So that's what the print campaign will be all about. And then next one, Dean. For those demographic that we serve that are maybe younger or certainly more tech savvy, they look to electronic media for their information. So we obviously have the website. We'll drive a lot of people to the website. We can put vast amounts of information onto the website. We can change it daily. We can change it hourly. We can get a lot of information out there through the website. They can also access us. So we'll be driving a lot of traffic to the website. Social media. We'll be looking at our IS staff to engage us to better utilize Facebook, get out their tweets, get on the Twitter feeds, make sure that they get information through that electronic media source. We need to do a better job at that, and we're going to be doing that soon. Access Community TV. It's a wonderful low-cost means to get out to the community and reach a lot of people that don't get out often but need to know what's going on with their transit system. So we'll be talking to the people, good folks at Cogeco, to make sure that we can get some airtime there and get on and have the conversation with the community via Cogeco TV. And last but not least, is very important to us as staff at Transit to kind of get off to the right start. And that is, we're seeking your approval this evening to accept the fact that we'd like to have the first week provided for free. So, somewhat of a promotional introduction period. That would allow us to acquaint our loyal customers with the service so that they feel comfortable going to work, going to school, medical appointments, whatever it may be, and certainly gives a chance for us to promote the service and educate new customers. Come on, give it a try. Try for a week. Travel all around as often as your little heart desires. Get to know the routes that you need, whether you need to take out a senior member of your family or a young member of your family so they feel comfortable going out. Oftentimes, they may go out initially. If it doesn't work for them for whatever reason, or they seem to be timid about it, they won't come back. We may lose them forever. So we're asking for your support this evening to look at that as an option. We think it's a valuable option. And, oh, I'm sorry. So again, we're looking for you to support that this evening. And if the question comes up, what is the cost of that? At this time of year, roughly a free week of service would be about $30,000 in revenue from Niagara Falls Transit.
Okay, that's great. We've got a question from Councillor Iannone.
No, Mr. Mayor, I was just going to move the recommendation.
Oh, okay.
That's been a long time coming. And even for council to know that I'm going to be bringing half-hour service too in the next budget deliberation.
Thank you for that. So we've got a motion moved by Councillor Iannone. Councillor Maves?
Yeah, I'll second it, but I also have a question.
Okay, yeah. Seconded by Councillor Maves and a question.
I'm just wondering, looking at all the zigzagging through the city, and should a person get on, say, in Chippewa, and of course there are all kinds of places where they cross. Can a person get a transfer at every place where they cross to another bus, or how does that? Do you get an all-day fare or something, or how is that going to work?
Well, through your worship, you can get an all-day fare if you choose to do so. Currently it's $6, which allows the individual to have unlimited travel throughout that day. So if you're going to and from something a couple times in a day, whatever that may be, a daycare center to pick up and drop off kids, that's a cost-effective way to do it. But as far as the transfers, our new fare boxes, which have smart card technology, can issue transfers right on the bus. They're good for 1 hour. So wherever you choose to transfer, you can transfer within the hour. So
you get off at any corner, if there's another bus going the other way, you can get on that one?
You can. We're trying to drive the traffic to more safe and secure hubs that have amenities there, benches, shelters, things of that nature. Because historically, a lot of people did transfer on the street. They'd scurry across McLeod Road or things like that, and it's just not the safest thing. We're not really encouraging that, but people, I suppose, could do that. Our operators, we've got some of the crowd this evening, are always able to help and certainly accommodate our customers. But as I say, we're trying to move the traffic to these hubs.
So if I were in Chippewa and I wanted to go to, say, Stanford Center, I could get on the bus, get my transfers, and get a pass. It would take me there and back on only the one fare?
Yeah. The reason we've gone to the kind of the open 1 hour transfer is that if somebody just is going to the bank to do some 15 minutes of banking or drop a child off at a daycare, they can literally go there and come home for one fare. As opposed to saying, well, if I got to go there and back, it could be $5. If my child's 5 or beyond, it could be another, $1.25. It could be an expensive proposition for them. So we're trying to get that ridership onto the buses on those short trips for the one fare.
Super, thank you.
That's good. Any other, Councillor Gates?
Yeah, actually, it's a really good report. I just a couple of questions. It was raised about the WeGo and how successful that's been. I think I talked about the WeGo when I first came on council about 14 months ago, and talking about the fact to try to make that seamless. to take advantage of those opportunities that are going down these streets, might get us to enhance our half-hour goal. And I see you're looking at that, so I think that's a good thing. But maybe you can give us an idea of just how many people have been riding the WeGo, and maybe if you can, I don't know if you can yet, but maybe a financial update on just how well it's doing as far as finances go.
Well, I don't know if I went out the cat out of the bag too early on the ridership. Maybe Carl might want to...
Mr. It doesn't matter who, just...
Yeah, it's big.
If I can respond to that, I'm going to be bringing back a report at the end of November that's going to highlight everything. I mean, the numbers, we're planning to put out a press release because it has been so successful. And on the seamlessness, yes, we're trying to do that with the red line. We're doing the seamlessness. But we don't want to take away from the WeGo system itself, so we want to try and maintain that. That's why if you originate on the line, you have to show your proof of residency, but if you're transferring, there's no problems. So we're trying to keep the WeGo because it is a tourist operation, and we want to keep that because it's a $7 a day pass, so we don't want to take away from that. So we are doing all those things. I am going to be bringing a report at the end of November to outline and highlight all those things that you asked the council.
No, and I can appreciate that, but I can also, I spend a lot of time in the Lundy's Lane area, and there's a lot of times that we can take a look at, you have a WeGo bus go by, then you have a Niagara Transit bus go by, and you'll have another WeGo go by, and I'm not saying they're empty or anything, there are people on them, but there may be some that we could take a look at and say, okay, well, how do we spread that out among the city? I'm saying, I'm glad we're looking at transit. It's probably long, long overdue in the city to take a look at it. So I think that's a good thing. On the issue of ridership, I just came back from Boston. I went and watched our powerful Blue Jays play a couple weeks ago. And to Councillor Iannone's point, I haven't rode public transit for a long, long time. I spent the entire weekend in Boston. I rode the bus with the college and the university kids, Boston College. It was very enjoyable. It was nice and easy. They came almost every 10 minutes. Hopefully we'll have that same problem here in Niagara Falls with a new university or college in a few years. But I think the young people, it was an automatic. They take the bus. And I think in the Niagara region, particularly in Niagara, if anybody saw the report that was just out, we have one of the lowest rates of pay in all of Ontario. So there's a lot of young people that don't have cars. They need a little better bus service, and I'm glad that this council is doing exactly that. Obviously, the ad hoc committee has done a really good job. It's a good start. I think to Councillor Iannone's point, we'd like to see it get even more, but I think we can utilize the WeGo as a cost savings to make it more seamless, get more people riding the buses, because there's a lot of benefits to having good public transit, not only for the citizens, but also for the tourist sector, for people to get to work, get home from work, and get to work safely, and get home from work safely. So just a few comments, and I appreciate that. Go ahead.
If I could just respond to that, if you have a look at the map behind you, we listened to what council had to say. We were here with council last fall when we were looking at this, when there was complaints about empty buses and so forth. And actually the red line, the WeGo line that runs along Lundy's Lane, that's pretty much the only line that runs along there now. So we have integrated the seamlessness, and we are going to look further to that. If you're an iRide card and you have a monthly pass, you can ride the entire red, blue, and purple of the WeGo as well. Yeah, if you have an iRide pass, just a 10 ride, you can get on the red line seamlessly. And so we're trying to promote that. And that's part of Mr. Stewart's and Mr. Chambers' program this fall, is to promote all those things and make people aware of them. So we are listening to what you're saying, and my report will outline a lot of the things that we're speaking of tonight.
And just to follow up to that, I guess my point was, because I happen to be in Lundy's Lane area a lot, because I live down that way, and I pick up all the local newspapers to read. I see that there are a lot of times when 3 buses are almost riding bumper to bumper. And when I see that, and they're all half full, which is all good news, but maybe there's something that we can do to spread them out so they're servicing the entire city as we try to move to a half hour. That was kind of what my point was. All right? Thank you.
Okay, thanks for that. Councillor Iannone?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And the ability for the iRide card to be able to use WeGo is huge. That'll be a huge segue into that. But I have my daughter emailing me a question because she's an avid bus rider. She wanted to know if you get off the same bus, can you use if you get off a bus and you need to be somewhere for an hour, can you use the transfer to get back on the same bus?
Yes.
1 hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's an open 1-hour transfer.
It's an open 1-hour transfer. Getting off. If you're going to Stanford Center, you're there for an hour, you can get back on the same bus and get out. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
That's great. Now, how close is it if the buses are, if it's 15 minutes, is there a little bit of grace there? I mean, is it...
The fare box just reads 1 hour,
Is that how it works?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we could change that. We could change that in 1 hour to be 75 minutes or something other, but currently it's 1 hour.
Okay. Well, that's great. I think that's a great option. And again, like... Yes, Mr. Jones.
If I could ask Mr. Stewart just to clarify what that 1 hour, it's when you receive the transfer. So if you're in the south end of the city and receive the transfer, it's 1 hour.
Right.
And it's not 1 hour from when you get off the bus. So just so.
Oh, it's not an hour from when you get off the bus?
No,
when you board the bus.
It's when you board the bus.
You get your
it's an hour
transfer.
from that point.
Can they ask for a transfer when they're getting off the bus?
Well, you're not supposed to do that, but
But
it
that
may
would-
occur. It may occur.
Okay, that's good to know. No, but I think it's a good feature, and again, I haven't since university. You know, I lived on the bus. I don't ride it, obviously, because you know, when you have a car, it's easier. But that's definitely a nice option where you don't have to pay twice if you have to go somewhere, get something, and go back. I think that's nice. So that's good. If there's no other questions or comments of council, we have a recommendation before you that's been moved and seconded. So we'll call the vote. All those in favor? Okay, opposed? Okay, and that's unanimous. Thank you. Nice job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart. Mr. Chambers? Excellent. Okay, next up is the consent agenda. Is there... What's that? Okay, just before we do that, we're going to first start off... That's right, I'm sorry. We talked about that. Okay, first item that we're going to do is ratification of in-camera matters. I'd ask our clerk if he would please do that for us.
Thank you, Your Worship. A few things. That a landlocked piece of land located at the rear of 3817 Cynics Avenue be conveyed to Stephen Kelly and Heather Lawrence Kelly for $3,800, and the mayor and clerk be authorized to execute the related agreements. That the city accept the offer from Ontario Limited 1006057 George Body to purchase lands located at 6681 Culp Street at $371,000, and the mayor and clerk be authorized to execute the related agreements, and that the study on the business case and land capacity for a downtown post-secondary campus be released.
Okay, moved by Councilor Pietrangelo, seconded by Councilor Ioannoni. For any discussion to this, we'll call the vote. All those in favor? Okay, and that's unanimous. Thank you for that, Mr. Clerk. So now we will move back to the consent agenda. Sorry, we're all over the place here on the front page of the...
Actually, the report before it, the infrastructure report, sorry. F2013-54.
Okay.
Number 2.
Number 2. Oh, we didn't do that. I'm sorry. Back to reports. Item 2. First, we've got item F 2013-54, infrastructure projects, advancement of engineering design phase. Councilor Pietrangelo.
Thanks, Your Worship. And this is the report that I asked for a couple of weeks ago. I just wanted to say to staff, thank you very much for bringing the report. It's a great report. It outlines a number of benefits of pre-approving projects that I stood up and talked about that night. A lot of them that I talked about are reiterated in the report. I believe, Your Worship, I think as the writer of the report does, that it's just good planning. And I hope that the city can continue on this path in the future. In other words, I hope that the city can always have a myriad of approved projects on the shelf. So as we begin to start rolling these projects out, I hope that we begin the design phase on more infrastructure projects. When I initially stood up, Your Worship, I think I asked for a total amount of $50 million for infrastructure projects. Clearly, the report identifies that and more. And, Your Worship, when I was talking a couple weeks ago as well, I was saying that part of the discussion that we haven't had yet was around the type of infrastructure. Because obviously there's two types of infrastructure, existing and new infrastructure. Council never really had the opportunity to have the discussion of where we wanted to put the money. What's really going to drive these projects from either sitting on the shelf or going into the budget was alluded to in the report, and that's our asset management plan. I think if you look on page 2 of the report, under the heading Analysis and Rationale in the first paragraph, Mr. Harrison talks about the fact that both the provincial governments and the federal governments have indicated that future funding partnerships will be contingent on implementing a municipal asset management plan. In the province of Ontario right now, every municipality has to have an asset management plan completed by the end of 2013, and so far the province has asked for municipalities to key in 4 areas: water, roads, sewer, and bridges. And although we haven't had the discussion yet, all you have to do is take a look at the projects that Mr. Holman identified under municipal works, and clearly he hits every single heading that's there, because I think he identifies 25 projects there, and 21 of them are sewer separation. So he understands, Your Worship, as well as we understand, that we're going to be putting more money into our core infrastructure. We're going to be putting more money into separating sewers. When we go in and we separate sewers, it's not just the sewers that we do, obviously. We have to tear up the road so the road gets reconstructed. A lot of times the curbs and gutters get replaced. A lot of times the sidewalks and the boulevards get replaced as well. So it's a total package when we go in and do it. So, Your Worship, I know that there's, I guess, a spectrum of comments in terms of where infrastructure money should go. Some people are going to stand up and say that, you know, we shouldn't spend a penny on new infrastructure until we take care of all the existing infrastructure. Other people are going to stand up and say, well, we can only do the existing infrastructure because we don't have any growth in our city. Clearly the report has probably about an 80-20 split, and I'm just kind of guessing, but it's not a bad balance. But that's a discussion that we never had the chance to have before, that we really should have before we start to roll out these infrastructure projects. The last comment I would have, Your Worship, is that one of the items that I wanted to see, and maybe it can come back in the next report, would be some real big ticket items. And we know that there's probably going to be a funding program coming from either the federal or the provincial government that talks about 3-level funding.
It's in the package.
Yeah, I know. And it is geared towards us. I mean, that one is not a big one. That's only $100 million. So, I mean, it's only geared toward, and I know I'm saying only, but I mean, our share of that would not be what I was talking about, Your Worship. I think it would be really nice to identify a couple major projects, whether they dealt with infrastructure, they could deal with some other things. I mean, when I looked at this list of infrastructure projects, I know we've always talked about a fire station west of the highway. Those type of projects would be something that the other levels of government would be very happy to contribute to, because they're all good news type of projects. So maybe when we do have that other discussion, you know, staff can now take that comment back and talk about some big projects that we can start the approval process on, and again, put them on the shelf for when a funding opportunity comes around, where we're going to get equal funds from the feds, from the province, and from us, because we now have the ability to fund these, Your Worship. So I'd be happy to move the recommendation. I thank staff for the report, and if I could include the comment about the big projects, and maybe staff can come back with some suggestions at the next report.
Okay, that's great. Moved by Councillor Pietrangelo, seconded by Councillor Morocco. Great comments, Councillor. Thank you for bringing this forward, and to staff for doing a great job doing the report. Councillor Thompson and Wing?
Yes. I wonder when we're going to have a report on the financial situation we're going to be in with respect to the police and also the casino issue, to know how much money we're going to have in the future for infrastructure projects. Is there going to be a report coming or an update to council?
Give us a comment on that.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, we talked about having a presentation later this fall. The treasurer, as part of our budget deliberations, will start off with that. As you recall, we had initial meetings with the police, and we've requested certain information from them. We have not received anything yet. So in order for us to have any meaningful...
We're starting from zero?
Well, as far as we're concerned, we're starting from zero until we receive the information. So we're going to be continuing that dialogue, but that hasn't really started yet because we haven't got the information from them. We're still waiting on that.
Okay. The other comment came from Ruth Ann Newistig from the Main Street, talking about the Sylvia Place transit design, $60,000, and she's suggesting in her correspondence, I guess you got that today or email today, that let's look at the not only the transit design, but also seeing if it can be coordinated with the new market that they're looking for up there. I think her comments in her letter today, basically that they're not looking for the Taj Mahal, they're looking something very inexpensive and functional just to get this off the ground. So I would hopefully with the motion refer that to the staff to see if that if we're not doing something that couldn't be coordinated with the work that we're already doing. So I would suggest that. The other thing that I've been talking about for years, in fact did for years, when you're talking about calling tenders at the appropriate time when really other municipalities don't have the opportunity. We're going to have all of these pre-approved construction projects, but if we had our budget process so that we approved our budget before the middle of December, like we used to do all the time, you can start calling tenders right after the first of the year, even before you get your assessment roll, before you get your regional budget. You know basically what you have to work with, the additional funds from the casino. If we have that information, you can start calling tenders when nobody else is calling them, and certainly get better prices. So hopefully we can have some comments back from the treasurer with respect to the benefits of that, if he thinks there are any benefits.
The man with the short arms and deep pockets, Belaski. Yes, Mr. Treasurer, do you want to comment?
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. The report today identifies an opportunity to pre-approve some engineering design work that we can certainly put in the slot that when we bring forward the capital budget. I mean, this year, the budget, again, won't be approved by December 31st this year, just with the timing of our reviews. That won't happen, unfortunately. It is something that we are working towards. Again, I think the OLG money, the debate that Councillor Peter Angelo discussed has to occur, and that will be the kickoff for the budget deliberations. We could, to take Councillor, if there was some sort of an agreement earlier in the year on the allocation of the capital contribution from the operating budgets, both the operating and utility budgets, we could go earlier with the capital budget than we have in the past to take advantage of that. The jury's out on whether we get better prices earlier in the year than we do later in the year. It's really a market condition event. A couple of years ago, when the stimulus funding was out there and every municipality had surplus money because of the federal incentives, the prices that we received were not as good as they came in last year. In fact, we're still finding that going out later in the year, when we do some tenders, we're receiving better prices than what the engineering estimates are. I think it's more reflective of the market than it is the timing. However, I do agree with Councillor Thompson that the earlier we get out there, we would be in a better position. I think that if we do pre-engineering design work, that also puts us in a position where we can possibly schedule our dates for going to tender to take advantage of those market conditions. So that's what we're working towards. The other thing that's important to note is I think Councillor Peter Angelo did indicate that the
the municipal infrastructure grant program that's just been announced requires an asset management plan to be in place. And this is important because it does tie in with all the work that our staff has been doing throughout the organization with regards to PSAB 3150, capital asset accounting, and it's now tightening it up that the infrastructure grants that are going to come from the upper tier levels of government are going to be tied to these asset management plans. So it'll be tied into the need and what's the next best project. So I think these are all good things, and hopefully I answered the question.
Are you good with that, Councillor Thompson? You gave one of those, so we'll see. All right, thank you. Councillor Wing.
Thanks. I'm very enthusiastic about asset management plans. In fact, I identified that as one of my priorities for the airport, and we'll be coming forward with ours for there shortly as a municipal facility as well. I was really happy to see so many sewer separation projects on there. That's something that benefits the entire community because we're not processing rainwater as sewage, and so it keeps our costs down. And I wanted to pick up on the letter from the Main and Ferry BIA as well. The market isn't a new market, it's a replacement for an existing asset which is now 45 years old, sort of at the end of its lifespan. And the point that I got out of the correspondence is that coordination of design work is going to be really critical. One thing we hadn't thought of is it's not an enormous lot, and we're trying to keep parking in there, and the buses are going to need space for maneuvering, and the market vendors' trucks need space for maneuvering as well. So, coordinating the design work is going to be really important. And last week at the board meeting, we discussed the short-term landscaping plan that city staff had proposed, and there was going to be a wall feature and an entrance feature and various streetscaping, and I understand it's about $80,000 worth of interim work. The BIA said, no, we don't want that. We would rather forge ahead with the long-term work, and so that frees up several tens of thousands of dollars that they say, no, don't waste it on something that's just going to be for the short term. So if we could coordinate the design of the transit hub and the market, I think that's the best way to make the most of that space and get the best two capital projects in there that we're going to. So I'm hoping the mover and seconder will accept that as a friendly amendment, that the market design be added in as well, using the monies that otherwise would be spent on short-term landscaping.
The mover and the seconder were who again, Mr. Clerk?
Councillor Pietrangelo and Councillor Morocco.
So
I think it's going to go to staff.
it's going to...
It's part of the recommendation to go to staff. I think that's what Councillor Thompson asked for.
Okay.
Which one, mine or hers?
So we've got a recommendation here, moved and seconded.
Yeah, Your Worship, and there's going to be more reports that come back. So probably good to get a comment from staff.
Okay. Well, why don't we, yes, Councillor?
I just want to say the concern is that moving ahead with the transit hub design could preclude a lot of things for the market design. Like there's a lot happening in what is essentially a fairly small space, given all that we want to do in there. And I know just from the joint meetings the BIA's had with the market vendors are saying, you need to do the market on an east-west axis. Now, if that's what the transit hub, we just don't want to have the transit hub designed in a way that's going to keep the market from functioning as it should. They pointed out that the St. Catharines market hasn't achieved optimal success because of design problems. So if we can avoid the design problems here, maybe at this point don't advance the transit hub design until we are doing the market design with it. It's just what they're saying is don't do one project in advance, that they have to be coordinated, they need to be done together.
Don't do them independent of each other. They've got to integrate.
Yes.
That makes sense. Well, can I get a comment from Mr. Holman?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I spoke with Councillor Wing, and she's raised some very good issues about coordination. In fact, we as staff had a meeting earlier this week to talk about how everything was going to come into place, and the fact that you can't really determine how the parking is going to be finished off until the sewers are designed, so we can deal with the drainage and then the transit, all as part of the same project. We're actually working on a report to come back early in November that will show not only the kind of concept plan for the ultimate build-up, but also a staging plan, because we want to keep the existing market in operation as long as we can while we're developing the new one. I appreciate the comments from Councillor Wing with respect to the use of the temporary or interim landscaping. But we also have to keep in mind that we want to use this place as being kind of a celebration place for festivities next July. And we may not be able to have the final market building designed and built in such a time that would allow for all of that to happen. So we will be, as a matter of course, finalizing our concept plans, going back to the BIA and getting their endorsement before we come back to council with a staging plan for this. The extra $60,000 is going to be very helpful to us in moving things along.
Okay. Yes, Councillor Thompson, did you have a further comment? No? Okay. So are we good with this? Councillor?
Well, yeah, Your Worship, I mean, I think staff are fully aware of the situation and they're cognizant of the fact that they both need to mesh together. Mr. Holman just simply stated that they're going to be coming back with a future report on how to put the two together, so I think that's good enough for us.
Okay, that's great. Well, then we've got a motion before you. We'll call the vote. All those in favor? Okay, and that's unanimous. Great. Thank you. And thank you, Councillor Pietrangelo, for bringing that forward. Now we move on to the consent agenda. Is there a will of council? Councillor Mapes?
I just want to pull the first one on Mewburn Road.
Okay.
2013-48.
Okay. We've got
balance of the consent agenda.
Okay, moved by Councillor Carrios, seconded by Councillor Pietrangelo, that we move the balance of the consent agenda. We'll call that vote. All those in favor? Okay.
Can I grab the second one?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Oh, you just want to comment on it? Yeah. Okay, that's fine. So we'll call the vote. All those in favor? Okay, so why don't we start off with Mewburn Road Bridge Project Status Update, MW 2013-48. Councillor Mapes.
Mighty generous of the railway to give us $578,000, but if you go back to that bridge, it was quite narrow, the original design, and from what I'm getting from this, they're not going to make it any bigger or any wider. And I think the thing is, back in the, prior to the bridge being condemned, there was a lot of bicycle riders going over it, and it was quite a popular bike road. So I think that when I look at the old bridge, it was very steep and not very wide. I think it's very dangerous. And I wonder if there's some way we can, I think we got some money in the budget here. Was it $400,000? Can we run a side thing there where people could walk across that, or possibly ride a bike on that? Because I think that'd be quite important to a lot of people using that road.
Well, I suppose, Mr. Mayor, Council asked a really good question about what it is CN plans to reconstruct. They basically have limited themselves to replace what's there now. So you're looking at a 17-meter long bridge with a width of about 5.9 meters, which is about a lane and a half. And that's what they feel they're financially responsible for. And we've asked them in a number of different ways to include some additional width for shoulders, for bike lanes, for a multi-purpose trail, which was the recommendation coming out of the EA, recognizing it's part of the Bruce Trail. They don't feel that they have that responsibility. So I know that it's difficult in the same meeting that we're recommending we spend a bunch of money on new infrastructure, and bridges is one of them. In this particular case, it doesn't make a lot of sense for the municipality to spend money on infrastructure that they don't own, and because we have enough of our own infrastructure that we own. And we can look at paving or striping the roads to accommodate additional width. We can designate some bike lanes if that's what we can do, but basically we're limited to that 5.9 meter wide width.
Is there a possibility, though, that we could, if we put some of our own money into it, possibly got some from the region, and maybe question the province to see if there's any possibility of getting any money so we could do a proper bridge? Because it seems ridiculous to do a piecemeal job. If we just get their money towards it, is that possible?
Mayor, we've examined just about every funding opportunity, whether it's federal or provincial money, and because we don't own the structure, we've been disqualified from the approval process. We've even looked at going back to a level crossing, which CN would object to. We'd have to get a board order, and they would object to. So.
But we do have a commitment for $578,000, though. Whether we build it or they build it, we'd still have that money towards it. Is that not correct?
Well,
you think they would do that?
If we decide we want to build it, then I would be recommending that we build a deferred alternative, which was the alternative that came through the EA process. And that would make our contribution $1.8 million.
Yeah, I'd like to see us pursue this extra to see if we can get it done properly, because, as I say, to just put what was there just is ridiculous. Anyway, if there's someone else has an opinion on that, I'd like to see if we can pursue it.
Thanks, Councillor. We've got Councillor Thompson.
Yeah, every time you talk about the Mewburn Bridge, you hear from Mr. Isapon, who lives right there. And today I got 1, 2, 3, 4 pages of comments indicating that the city should not spend 10 cents on this facility. It's theirs, it's their responsibility, and the problem is we've never seen any firm traffic counts of the usage. It's been closed for 2 years, and I think I've had 1 or 2 people mention, when are they going to open the Mewburn Bridge? The access there and the traffic is minimal, and I think the people out there like it that way. And this replacement, which is not our responsibility, for $578,000 is what certainly Mr. Isapon is in favor of, and not spending any taxpayers' money because it is not utilized. And he goes into extensive comments here about the suggestion that that turnaround on Mountain Road there is
roundabout.
The roundabout. The roundabout there. That there's going to be a tie-in to the 40. Is it 6 or 405? 405. Yeah. Suggesting that the prudent way of coming up there is the main route, which is up near Gauld's nursery, or past that.
Town Line
major.
Road?
That's right. Yes. So he was very emphatic today about there's no way we should be spending any taxpayers' money on that. So that's my suggestion also.
Yeah, fair comment. Councillor Gates.
Yeah, actually, on Councillor Thompson's point, it was one of my questions that we talked to any of the residents out there on what they want. I just happened to, yesterday afternoon, I went down to take a look at it to see, exactly what we were discussing today. I don't think that we can justify spending another $1.8 million for half a lane. I don't know how many cars have gone there, but Councillor Pierangelo just said it's been closed for 4 years. I haven't had one call on it. I don't know how many of the other councillors had calls on it, but to justify $1.8 million doesn't make a lot of sense. And let CN pay for it. They have a hard time paying for it in this city. So if we're finally going to get some money out of CN, let's grab it and get another bridge here. All right.
Are there any other comments on this issue? Okay, so we need a motion. Moved by Councillor Thompson, second by Councillor Wing. The motion is to move the recommendation, which is have CN pay the full cost of replacing the bridge for a cost of $578,000. No contribution from the city for the physical structure. Okay, we'll call the vote. All those in favor? Okay, that's unanimous. Okay, thank you. And then Councillor Gates, you wanted to comment on MW 2013-51.
Yeah, just quickly, I was really surprised at the amount of money for the Niagara Falls Master Drainage Plan. $246,000. It seemed like a lot of money. I took a look on the background, and I was even more surprised when I read that we really haven't had it updated since 1981. It's kind of surprising to me. And the other part of it is, with that kind of money, in the report it's saying that staff just couldn't do it. I think that's in the report as well. So the staff wouldn't be able to do it. I was just wondering, we could probably hire 2 people for that kind of money that could maybe work with us for a while. So that was kind of like my points. And the other one is, who's the company that's doing it and where are they from?
Maybe we'd ask staff for that.
The firm that we're recommending is a firm of Aquifer Beach. However, the majority of the work is being done by folks here at Hatch next door.
Where's the company from? I realize that. I read that, but
Mississauga.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Next up, so we've already approved that, is communications and comments of the city clerk. So we've got 4 items. Item 1, the Niagara Falls Library requesting week of 20 to the 26th be declared Public Library Week in the city. Moved by Councillor Peter Angelo. We only got 4 of them. Seconded by Councillor Maves. All those in favor? Okay, thank you. 2, week of November 17th to the 24th be proclaimed Restorative Justice Week. Moved by Councillor Carrier, seconded by Councillor Maves. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay. Item 3, it's unanimous.
I'll do 3.
Okay. Heart Niagara requesting week of 3rd to the 9th be proclaimed as Sudden Cardiac Awareness Week. Moved by Councillor Gates and seconded by Councillor Peter Angelo. All those in favor? Okay. Opposed? Yes, you want to speak to that one, Councillor?
No, just the next one, I would move it, but I wonder if the CAO could make some comments. It's a rather interesting situation. Haven't seen that before. We're just responding to changes or expansion of the chemistry logistics. Is that it?
Yeah, we'll ask Mr. CAO if he'd comment.
Yes, sorry, Mr. Mayor, this matter came to our attention, and we're just a commenting agency to the Ministry of Environment. Our feeling is that there was a number of concerns that our staff had. We felt we should bring them to the attention. We're looking for some alternative truck routing and things of that nature. Now, we're not the official approval agency on this, it's the MOE, but we felt it was important that we get our comments on the record.
Did we hire the people to prepare that response?
Chemtrade?
The correspondence that is being sent in there.
No, that was prepared as a collaboration amongst our staff, the comments.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good comments and concern, because you got a whole new subdivision development out there adjacent, a residential area, and if there's toxic chemicals as such being prepared there, safety is utmost important. So I think they've captured that in their dialogue, so I was impressed with the correspondence.
Okay, so that's just for information of council. We don't need
the motion to receive it.
Okay, motion to receive, moved by Councillor Thompson, second by Councillor Morocco. All those in favor? Okay, that's approved. Any additional items for council's consideration, Mr. Clerk?
Your Worship, there's a correspondence from Mr. Zappatelli, Albert Zappatelli, Umbrella Energy, and at this point, just suggesting that we refer it to staff to investigate what he's proposing.
Okay, we've got a motion by Councillor Peter Angelo, seconded by Councillor Carrier, that we make the recommendation. You want to speak to that, Councillor Peter Angelo?
I do, Your Worship, and I'll definitely support the motion that it goes over to staff. I just wanted to ask staff when it would come back to us, because in the letter from Umbrella Energies, it talks about the next round of contracts, and that would be the feed-in tariff program contracts, are going to take place at the end of November. So I know if the municipality is looking at doing any type of alternative energy source program, You know, we probably would want to become part of the FIT program, the next one that's out, and that's going to come back to us, or that's going to be open at the end of November. So I guess my question is, when would anything from staff be brought back in regards to this request?
Well, I mean, I got it very late last week from Mr. Zappatelli. I mean, I think we've been, as you know, Councillor, we've been using NPEI on our energy plan and that sort of thing, so we'll have to get some feedback from them. He's sort of proposing a committee. I'm not really sure whether a committee and an advisory committee to council like we traditionally have is the way to go, maybe more of a working group. You know, not really my area of expertise, so I'm kind of, you know, stumbling in the dark to figure it out exactly. But obviously there's other staff that have been involved to a certain extent, and like I said, NPEI has been involved as well.
Sorry, so when would it come back?
I really can't tell you because I'm not sure who would be bringing it back. I guess my comments would be more from a advisory committee role, but you know, I trust that when we get some feedback from NPEI, etc., that we'll try to bring it back as quickly as possible.
Your Worship, my only concern is whether or not it would be before the end of November. That's all.
So can we put some expediency on this and have that done by the end of November?
That's my question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. if I may, and as clerk indicated, we do rely heavily on NPEI, and they're very good at helping get us this information. I would think if we get in contact, then we could probably get something together and get back to you before. They're very knowledgeable in this whole area and will provide us that guidance.
Mr. Clerk? And I've provided the correspondence to Ms. Forcier at NPEI, so she's aware of it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, all right, that's great. So is there any motion or any move?
Refer to staff first.
Okay, so did we already have
we got it. The motion we need.
Okay, call the vote. All those in favor? Okay, so we'll refer that to staff. Thank you. Bylaws, Mr. Clerk, are there any additional bylaws or amendments?
No, Your Worship. Some of the bylaws were handouts, so the actual text of those bylaws are in your handouts this evening, and they were related to the in-camera items. So bylaws 2000, well, I guess need a motion for first reading.
Moved by Councillor Pietrangelo, second by Councillor Gates to give the bylaws a first reading. All those in favor?
Bylaws 2013-150 to 2013-153 read a first time.
Second.
Okay. Moved by Councillor Pietrangelo, seconded by Councillor Gates that we give the bylaws a second and third reading. All those in favor? Okay.
Bylaws 2013-150 to 2013-153 read a second and third time and passed.
Okay, thank you. New business. You have some new business. Councillor Thompson.
Yes, I just want to refer this to staff. A letter sent to you and I from the Optimist Club. Did you get that today?
Yeah.
They're proceeding. Yes.
Sorry, no, I received it as well, so we will be bringing that forward.
Okay, well, I think what they're looking forward is a resolution from council to try to assist them with some of the regional and local development charges. What the charges are being implemented while they still have their existing building there. They want to start on their new building and demolish the old building later, and as a result they'll have to pay development charges, and then they're supposed to receive them back. There's a 3-page letter regarding that situation, so if we could just have a resolution from council to refer to staff to see if we can work together to help them get their foundation permit as quickly as possible, and also to assist them with the development charges and other financial permits involved because of the work that they've done since 1937. So I would so move we refer that.
Second.
Okay, moved by Councillor Thompson, second by Councillor Pietrangelo, that we help them, the Optimists, get their foundation permit, navigate around the development charges as they build and rebuild buildings. We'll call that vote. All those in favor? Okay, that's unanimous.
One other quick thing, we had the report on the flooding and drainage that we had a month ago, and we had the nice report on it, and then I think the next day they sent out the denials to all of the people who had claims in. How many were there? 175. Of course, a lot of those would be covered by insurance. I'm sure that some of the people around have had calls from people who didn't have insurance. Obviously, the first question is, why didn't you have insurance? I feel kind of sorry for them. I wonder if we have any indication of how many of them there were, and if there's going to be a report back on that, and if there's anything that we can do to assist any of these people. But the one that really got me was not only was one of the claims denied, that their insurance company, after this claim plus one a few years ago, they sent them a letter saying that they no longer have insurance for that company because the risk no longer meets our underwriting guidelines. So they also lost their insurance. So now they're on the spot to try to get a new insurance agency, which is going to be difficult and is going to be much more expensive. I wonder, with two claims, why that would happen, and I suggested to them there was very little I could do, but I would refer that to the mayor and ask if he could call the insurance company and say, you know, is there any sympathy for these people, and see if you could at least get them back on the insurance docket. So I said I would do that. Whether we have success or not, I don't really know, but it's worth a try. Otherwise, I'll be up on my feet at the next meeting and reading the letter with the insurance company that's involved.
We don't want to go public with that.
I will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since we have a resident insurance expert, yes, Councillor Mays?
I'm just being a retired insurance broker, been away for a few years. But anyway, I must say, no, I can tell you that the way the insurance companies deem a lot of these things is that once you've had a frequent amount of these, they're no longer deemed accidents, they're called occurrences, and they don't cover occurrences. So I think that's where the problem arises. You have something that continually happens, you've got to take the steps to mitigate your damages. So that's basically how I would say the majority of the companies do it. Some will allow you 3, some maybe even 4, but it gets very difficult and very expensive. Now that would depend on the company's criteria, but they all have their own in-house rules as to where they stop and start. And this is, again, I guess it comes down to buyer beware. That probably should be a question you ask when you buy your policy.
That's why you're retired and I still work.
So we'll work on that. We'll follow up. Yep, we can do that. Pardon me?
No motion?
No motion, just asking me to go call the insurance company for him. He just put the monkey in my back, that's all. There was no motion there. Any other new business? Councillor Gates?
First? Yeah, sure. Yeah, I just got an issue that, as you know, I go to the Canuck games a lot of Friday nights. Pleased to say that they won Friday night. But while I was at the game, I had 2 of the spectators come to me with the elevator being broke down again.
Okay.
And one was a grandfather that was on heart medication, and he wanted to see his grandson so bad that he took a chance and walked up the steps. Lucky, nothing happened. There was another one that had a knee replacement, and again, they wanted to go to the game so bad, they walked up the steps, and I'm glad to say that nothing's happened. But the elevator has been an issue. This is now the 2nd year that I've raised this. I don't know what we can do there, but when people go to the arena with problems, whether it be their hearts, their legs, and wheelchairs, they don't expect the elevators not to be working. And I think that we've got to figure out a way to get the elevators so they are working. Like I said, I enjoy the games. I like going on Friday nights, but it certainly makes it tough to have people come on up to you and talking to you for 10 or 15 minutes about the elevator. Quite frankly, I think we got an obligation to fix it. So whatever you can do there, hopefully we can get that done.
Do you want to get to feedback on that, Councillor?
That'd be great if you can.
Is there any update, Ms. Moldenhauer, on that?
Through to the Mayor. For the last couple of months, actually, we haven't had any issues with the elevators, so we'll follow up on that. But to inform everybody, we do have security cameras that have now been installed at the Gale Centre. And what we have done is we do have a security camera installed on each level by the elevator, so we can clearly see if there is any vandalism being done to the elevator and to monitor the elevator as well.
Okay. That's nice, but I guess my question to you, were you aware that the elevator wasn't working on the day of the Canucks game on Friday?
No, I was not aware of that, and I was actually at the facility Thursday, and I know the elevator was working during the day, and I was there Friday morning as well, and wasn't brought to my attention, so I will follow up.
Maybe you could do a follow-up and find out what was wrong with it, because like I said, it's not fair to, but we have a lot of, I'll be honest with you, a lot of seniors go to the Canuck games, just like they go to the Junior C games, right? And there's a lot of people with some health issues, and we need that elevator working, so whatever you can do, I appreciate it. And the second part of that is maybe you could just, through staff, can tell us when you're expecting to have the update of the Gale Centre.
Through the Mayor again, the work was completed on Friday, and pleased to say that we do have the heat turned back on at the arena, so all of the mechanical systems are all functional now. The last bit of work is just going in and doing the repair work to the ceiling, with the ceiling tiles, drywall repair, etc. We are awaiting the final report, so we do hope to have a report back to Council probably by the end of November.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.